We are getting ready to go on a family beach vacation. So this morning I have a lot to do to prepare for that. I'm gonna be doing some packing. I like to pack for my younger 3 boys and myself, and I usually pack for my husband. And then the older kids typically pack for themselves. Now we have a very, very small trunk in the car that we have. And so we have to pack really light in order to make everything fit. And one way that I'm able to do this is I always make sure that the Airbnb, the house, or whatever we're staying at renting has a washer and dryer, so that I can pack really light for me and the kids, at least clothes wise. Obviously there's a few things that I have to pack outside of clothes, but I also like to check and see if the house we're renting has a pack and play for the babies, any type of sand toys for the beach. Sometimes they have umbrellas, beach chairs, and in this instant they did have almost all that stuff. I do have to bring one pack and play for my toddler, but other than that, we were able to pack very light and make everything fit into our very, very, very small trunk. Before heading into the kitchen to prepare a few meals to make our trip a little bit easier, I'm wrapping my baby. I always get a lot of questions about this wrap. This is the Little Zen 1 woven wrap, and I really, really like it. This is my first baby that I've used this particular wrap, and I have really preferred it, and it seems to be the one that I use the most often. As a woman, have you recently experienced a health concern that you couldn't resolve with your doctor, or maybe you just didn't feel heard? Well, today's video sponsor, Midi Health, can help with that. Midi is a virtual care clinic on a mission to bring compassionate, high-quality medical care covered by insurance. Midi is perfect for a busy mom like me because I can enjoy my virtual no-rush visit straight from my comfortable home. Midi treats women with a variety of health concerns ranging from premenopause and menopause to weight, hair, skin, and so much more. And the best part is that it's so convenient and easy, and booking a visit is very simple. If you need any testing, Midi will help organize it with a local center and then get all the virtual follow-ups you need to dial your treatment and take any preventative steps. I personally love Midi because the visit felt so personal. I was able to chat with an expert, tell them my concern, and then immediately I got feedback. I never had to leave my home, I didn't have to wait in a waiting room, and I didn't have to find a babysitter for my kids. If you are looking for personalized, compassionate care covered by insurance, you can click on the link below to book your first Midi visit. Before I go on vacation, I always like to leave my house really clean. It's just something about coming home to a clean space that makes me really happy. And like I mentioned before, I like to have a house that has a washing machine when I'm gone, so I even come home with clean clothes. It just makes the trip just more relaxing knowing that when I get home, I don't have much work to do. I'm coming home to a clean space. I can just put away the clothes. I think that's another reason why I like to really pack light, is that it makes it really easy to unpack when I get home. And so that is what I'm doing now. I'm just cleaning up the kitchen with some breakfast dishes, and then I'm also going to be doing some more cleaning around the house just to leave the house clean while I'm gone. And then I'm going to be working on a few meals. One thing that I have found out from traveling is that we like to have a breakfast prepared to bring along with us or either eat quick before we leave, depending on what time we're leaving. On this particular trip, we're gonna be leaving at 4 in the morning because we are traveling all the way to the East Coast and we want to do it all in one day. So we want to leave early to make sure that we can make the trip before it gets too late. So I am preparing some cinnamon rolls to make, and then I'm also going to be making some venison enchiladas. I have found that when we get home from a trip, it is really nice to have a meal prepared that just needs to be warmed up. So depending on how long we're gonna be gone, I might stick this in the freezer or just in the refrigerator, and then when we get home and there's no food prepared, everybody's hungry, there is something to eat. So for that, I'm gonna be making some homemade tortillas, some enchilada sauce, and then like I've told you guys already, I have been making everything with venison because we have a lot in the freezer to get through. So I'm going to be using that to whip up these enchiladas. While I am cooking in the kitchen, I thought it would be a good time to talk through some of the things I am planning for the new year. I don't always make New Year goals per se, but I do think it's a really good time to reset, reevaluate, and think of ways that I can manage my home a little bit better and just kind of reevaluate how I am living and how our family is living, and think about things that I maybe want to change for the new year. So even though I don't necessarily, I'm not going to say believe, but I don't always love New Year's goals because I think that, at least for me, I could sometimes put something off and say, I'll do that in the new year. If it's like middle of the year, you can do that even just with the week. I'll start Monday. I like to have more of the mindset, if I have something that I think will help myself, my family, or my home run more smoothly, that I should start it right away rather than waiting for a new week, month, year, whatever it is. But with all that to say, I do think at the beginning of a year, it is a really good time to reassess and evaluate. And there are a few things that I thought of that I would like to do this year to make our home run more smoothly and just to make life more fun and stress-free. And one of those, and you guys already know, I am really big into decluttering, but really just getting into my home and looking into different closets and shelves and cabinets and really minimizing on the amount of things that we have. I have been doing this already in the past years. Really last year, I really honed in on this, but I want to even do it more for 2025 because radically reducing inventory really helps me to live a more simple, organized life. And whenever my life is more simple and organized, I can definitely enjoy it a little bit more. Now, speaking of enjoying life a little bit more, that is one of my goals for 2025, is just not sweating the small stuff, not brushing off my kids, but really sitting down, enjoying them, enjoying my husband, enjoying this life. I know how fast everything goes, and sometimes I can be stressed with just the daily tasks that I have to do, getting food on the table, laundry, cooking, cleaning, all of the things that homemakers have to do, that at the end of the day, I'm like, oh my gosh, I did not even enjoy, a certain activity or a certain child as much as I could have. So in 2025, trying to be more intentional about slowing down and just enjoying the little things in life. After I was done making my enchiladas, I had a bunch of meat left over that didn't go into that dish. And so I poured it back into my Dutch oven, added in some canned beans and tomatoes to whip up a really quick chili for lunchtime. After lunch, I headed back into the kitchen to whip up a big batch of creamed corn. We are actually going over to my sister's house tonight, and my other sister who is coming is smoking brisket, and everybody is supposed to bring a side to go with the brisket. So I volunteered to bring creamed corn, so I'm getting that going now while I wait for my cinnamon rolls to rise to go on to the next step for those. Another goal for 2025 is just being more intentional of being in God's Word. We made actually oddly enough, a New Year's goal of sitting down in the morning and doing a Bible reading after breakfast with our whole family. I think this was 2, maybe 3 years ago, and we have been doing that ever since. Now, some mornings we miss depending on, what's going on, but we try to every morning sit down before the busyness of the day, have our breakfast together as a family, say a prayer, and then read through a chapter in the Bible. And we started this, like I said, several years ago, and we are working our way through the Bible. Now, this has gone pretty slow just because when you're reading with a lot of little kids, there's lots of questions. A lot of times we don't get through a full chapter at a time, but slowly but surely we are making our way through the Bible, and that's just something that I want to continue on through 2025 with our kids. So for these sourdough cinnamon rolls, last night I mixed together some sourdough starter, water, flour, and some melted coconut oil, honey, and a couple of eggs, and then I let them sit overnight. And now today I'm adding in some baking soda, baking powder, and some salt. And then I'm going to make a cinnamon sugar filling with some softened butter, brown sugar, and cinnamon. And then I will also make a cream cheese topping to drizzle over top of these once they are finished. If you want the full recipe, you can find it on my sister's blog, Farmhouse on Boone. Another big goal of mine is being intentional about getting outside. This can be really hard for the homemaker in the family because majority of my work is inside. I spend a lot of time in the kitchen. I am doing laundry, I'm cleaning, I'm cooking, preparing meals. And so getting outside has to be something that I actually have to set time aside for. I always think that my kids and my husband, they spend so much time outside. But for me, a lot of time is spent inside. So this year, I want to be more intentional about getting outside. And lastly, I want to show you guys a few clips from our little vacation. We had such a wonderful time slowing down and just spending a week on the beach. This is a beautiful little island in Georgia, and we had such a wonderful week exploring. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching.